Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Bargain Bin, a show all about speed-running games all under $20. My name is Midnight Vesper, and I'm going to be your host for this amazing holiday show. If you're new, here's how this works. For more current/digital games, we're going to be using digital stores like Steam, GOG, itch.io, Ubisoft, Epic, etc. to look at their list or MSRP prices. For retro games, we're going to be using the website pricecharting.com and looking at the loose price of each individual game. We do not count any sales or discounts as they vary from the time of purchase. Couple quick announcements. AGDQ 2021 Online is less than 2 weeks away. From January 3rd through the 10th, we'll be having a week-long marathon benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prize submissions are open until December 26th. That's the end of this week, so go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more. And if you're watching this on YouTube and would like to support our live content, please consider checking out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. Please consider using your Prime Gaming account to support the weekly GDQ Hotfix content. On today's holiday-based show, we're going to represent a couple of games for you. First, we got The Grinch on the PlayStation 1 by Church and Shards, currently with a loose price of $10.60. After that, we travel to Gotham City on a Christmas Eve for Batman Arkham Origins being run by Greenbat. That game is currently $19.99 as a list price on Steam. Finally, we're going to conclude with the return of Church and Shards running Cthulhu Saves Christmas, also on Steam with a price of $9.99. And don't forget that the Bargain Bin isn't the only show on tonight. Right after our show is going to be Speed Runs from the Crypt. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy this holiday festive evening. Church, how are you doing on this wonderful day?
I'm doing pretty all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We have someone else in the here as well that could also answer that question.
How you doing, Eggplant?
I'm doing okay. I'm ready to see some Grinch.
I hope everybody is ready to see some Grinch. All right. Is everybody ready? You ready on the timer, Richard? Excellent. So we'll get the run started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So everybody is in for a surprise tonight. I know, Vesper, you're not familiar with this game. I know Richard is, and he's still in for a treat. I don't know about anybody else out there. I hope people have played this game, but if not, I'm going to try and show you how great this game is. So right off the bat, we're into a little tutorial to show you all of the Grinch's superpowers. So he can crush things when he double jumps. He has superhuman strength, so he can move heavy things. One of his superpowers is he has a dog, which can fit through small holes and get things for him. And then his fourth superpower that we get in the tutorial is going to be his very, very bad breath, which is able to kill plants and severely hurt people. Make them, again, not hurt, but make them unpleasant. Eggplant, you want to go over the fifth superpower that we have?
Oh, I mean, there's the sneaking ability, where you get on your tiptoes and sneak around to be quiet. Not present in the tutorial at all. I don't know when they expect you to learn that.
I actually don't know if they don't. I think they just kind of give you the prompt on screen, which we're going to usually ignore. So right off the bat, we jump into Whoville here, and the very first thing we're going to do is start a little bit of a cutscene skip. So there are holes that we're going to be swinging on across, like, throughout the game. But in this area, like in this level, if you skip jumping on them, we don't have to watch a cutscene that explains it, which saves a little bit of time. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up a paint can, which is going to allow us to complete our 3 objectives. Eggplant, do you want to go over what the objectives are in this level?
Yeah, so every level has a lot of missions for the Grinch to do to ruin the Who life. And you have to complete 3 in order to move on to the next level. In this level, we're going to be doing vandalizing 10 of the mayor's posters, crushing 10 of the snowmen, and shuffling the mail in the mailroom.
Shuffling the mail in the mailroom is the closest... So, sorry, this is based on the Jim Carrey movie. Shuffling the mail in the mailroom is the closest we're going to get to the movie.
This level alone is based on the Jim Carrey movie. Everything else is
I don't know.
extra content.
I think my favorite part of the Jim Carrey movie was Who Dump, you know, with the minefield area.
Yeah, of course. How could anybody forget the minefield?
Ooh, I screwed this up a little
The
bit.
dump guardian.
That's like a 4-second time loss, maybe. If you move properly, you can move between his shots and not get frozen, but it's not a big deal.
Another one.
So you might have noticed that I've been picking up these little plants here on the side. These are eggplants, rotten eggplants, rather. And these are going to be our ammo in the next level. We're at 18 right now. We want to be between 27 and 33. So eggplants on the ground can spawn in 1, 3, and 5. And it's kind of random what they spawn when, like when you walk into the area where they spawn. But after that, after time, they will turn. So a 1 plant will turn into 3, will turn into 5.
They'll like grow.
Yeah.
As time progresses, get more eggs out of them. It's important that Church picks up eggs in this level, because farming eggs in the second level where we need them is not really possible. The plants just don't spawn as frequently, and you get 1 egg from a lot of them.
And we need a lot of eggs. I think we were talking about it earlier, and I think in total we need like somewhere between 40 and 50. Which is a lot.
Yeah, just for the second level, though.
Yes.
After that, we don't have much trouble keeping our eggs up.
So we're pretty much done with the first area here. We've done 10 snowmen, we've done 9 posters. The last thing we really need to do is we need to step into the mailroom here. So the mailroom is very well designed. You might see this in your modern post office. So they've got security lights that will open a trapdoor below you if you get caught. The doors can only be opened from the inside. So I guess the post office has a lot of dogs on hand or small creatures to go open the doors, because I don't really know how you would get in otherwise.
Yeah, and also considering how small the village is, the post office is just gigantic.
Oh, for sure. There's a very small amount of Who's and a very large amount of mail. So this entire section is on a timer, so all of these spotlights are moving in a specific pattern. So as long as we keep up with the timer and don't lose time, we should be able to reliably run through all of the spotlights without, except for this one. We should be able to reliably run through. I actually probably could have made that one, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I waste about a second running into the corner, and if I get caught, it costs about 30 seconds. And I just wasn't super confident on that one.
Yeah. You hit a few trapdoors earlier in practice.
Boy, did I. Boy, did I. I did a really clean first practice run, and then the second one was less clean. But it's okay, because that means I got rid of all of my mistakes, right?
Yeah, hopefully. So after you get the first 4 rooms, the 5th one opens up, and you get this, heart piece, just like any Zelda game. But we're gonna try to avoid getting health power-ups after this, because we have a few death warps, and we don't want to have to go through more health than we have to.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't really figured out a way to skip that piece, because if we could skip it, we would, but it doesn't seem possible at the current juncture. But with that, we are done with Whoville. This is our last picture, and that is our 3rd mission. So that's going to unlock our 2nd level. I don't know why I don't even know if you can see my fingers, but I was signaling 3, even though it's definitely 2.
But before we get to Hoot Forest,
We have to... Go ahead.
Yeah. So Church was collecting blueprints throughout the level. The Grinch has a set of a bunch of inventions, but the blueprints got scattered throughout Boo Land. And by completing these blueprints, we have access to the Grinch gadgets that use the eggs. The blueprints are like a slide puzzle sort of thing. We have to organize the pieces and make the blueprint to get the gadget. And we're going to be picking up a few more gadgets as we go through.
Yeah. So the important thing to note for those puzzles is that the location... So each specific piece in the puzzle is tied to a blueprint on the map. So if you always collect them in the same order, they'll always be in the same order in the puzzle. It'll just be like a different rotation. So this is Glorious Who Forest, and we have 3 missions here. We have to wilt 10 trees. We have to drop 10 beehives into chimneys, and we have to pour glue in the glue cannon. I kind of just did something and glossed over it. So you're able to animation cancel now that we have a gadget by zooming in and out with it. And that will actually reset your double jump. So for some reason, we're able to like reset our double jump all the way up that slope, which it is a slope, so we should slide all the way down. But because we were able to like cancel our double jumps, we were able to just go all the way up, which saves a little bit of time in our movement.
Yeah, it like makes the Grinch stand upright instead of sliding down like you normally would.
Yeah.
So we saw Church use Max there. An interesting thing, one of the big differences between the PC and the PlayStation version, Church is playing on the PC version. On the PlayStation version, you can use the analog sticks to control Max without actually going into like Max mode. So you can use Max to like collect blueprints, get eggs, other things. In the PC though, Church is going to have to manually maneuver Max whenever he needs him to do something.
So I've kind of glossed over this a little bit, but the camera angle in this game dictates a lot of what's real and isn't real. As you just saw, I turned the camera and made the door frame have more of a platform. That comes into play a lot in the game, especially, well, in the speedrun rather. We've glossed over the hardest jump in the game because we just jump on a kid's head in the first level. I actually did the second hardest jump in the game already, and I'm going to have to do it again, so I'll bring it up when we get there. But basically, they're difficult because if the camera is in the wrong angle, you just can't complete the jump. There's extra polygons or something that will stop you.
Yeah. Which reminds me, if anybody can figure out how to add visual hitboxes in this game so that we can see where these objects are, that'd be lovely.
We would really appreciate that. So we have gotten our blueprints out of this level. So this is the only level that we're going to have to revisit, or that we're going to have to go into more than once during the course of the early game to complete the 3 missions. We will have to visit most of the levels again later for the end game, like building the sleigh. But otherwise, we only go into the levels the one time to complete the missions. Ooh.
Oh no.
That's fine. We'll just do it again. So
yeah, so you're jumping on that roof. It's like a double jump trick, but you can use the present as a backup. But Church flattened the present on his first attempt, so.
Thankfully, that double jump is actually a lot easier than the other one. Otherwise, that might have been a problem. Well, I mean, I guess I just switched to my... I waste eggplants is the only issue, which would have sucked, but it's not like a run end or anything.
27's like close here.
Yeah, so 27, so 28 or 24. So we use 17 up here, gets us 7. Yeah, there's a few we can pick up, so that should be fine. Because you use 4 for each of these, 3 beehives. We shoot 1. Yeah, as long as we pick up there's like 3 or 4 that can spawn. As long as we get some out of like any of them, we should be fine. Which, unfortunately, is a lot more unlikely than one would think. So that one despawned.
Nice. So after this house is one of the camera tricks that we need to be careful of, or I guess camera errors that we need to be careful of. So Church is going to shoot this ice wall from down here so that he can have Max come up. And the puff of smoke that comes out of that ice wall is like the thing that signals the ice wall is destroyed. If Church doesn't witness that puff of smoke, the ice wall will just still be there when he sends Max over.
Boy, have I done that a few times.
Go, Max!
Same.
So we're at 9, we'll drop to 5. Oh, 12, that makes that good. Okay, so as long as I don't mess this up. Okay, so it might happen on other ledges, but specifically on this ledge, you need to fall into it, otherwise he won't grab onto the ledge, which is not as much of a problem in other places.
So we have 2 more trees, 2 more bees.
Yeah.
And that'll be the level. Oh, 1 more tree. Oh, that's right. You got the tree the first time.
Yeah.
The one on the other side of the house.
So if I get the double jump trick, I have exactly enough eggs. If I don't, I need to fall down on the other side, which is fine. Alright, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So 7, I only need 4. So this is the hardest, second hardest jump in the game. I need to make sure the camera is rotated. If I don't rotate it enough, my feet will slam into it and I'll like plummet all the way down. If I rotate it halfway enough, Grinch will grab onto it, which is better than falling, but still isn't the fastest way. But I will take grabbing the ledge any day of the week.
So we come into this house, get attacked by the bees, death warp back to the beginning, and then we can go to Who Dump.
You will notice in the bottom right there, that is a blueprint. That blueprint is for the slime shooter. The slime shooter is absolutely integral to completing the 3rd level. If we do not get the slime shooter, we will not be able to complete Who Dump. So here we are, we're going into Who Dump. We'll explain that in a minute.
So Who Dump introduces us to different type of ammo. We have the nitro eggs here that we use to blow up the robots. The Church is going to take the nitro egg spawn point off the screen to get as many nitro eggs as he can carry. And then it's going to blow up robots that are in the way of things that he needs to access. In Who Dump, the 3 missions we have to complete are getting 10 slices of pizza from the seagulls. We're linking 10 of the pipes and trimming the dump guardian's entire face.
The mission actually says haircut, but what happens and what it says are 2 completely different things. And you'll have to actually see what we're talking about. So that
Church, you didn't link that pipe.
Yeah, no.
So one interesting thing, camera angles again. The pipe just won't recognize that it's together until we see it together.
Yeah, so this is one of the earliest video games that touched on quantum physics. If you don't see it happen, it doesn't happen. I actually got a time save there because I got electrocuted as I stepped on the thing. That was not intentional.
Nice.
So hopefully you won't notice it, but you might notice a few times where I take an extra second or so to look at something. It's because I need it to actually exist. Come on. That's not what I meant to do.
So the dump's broken up into multiple sections. We came over to every section split off by an electric force field for some reason. Just well-designed Who Dump. So we have to come over to this section in front of the power plant to like get the pizzas and stuff, and then we're gonna death warp back and go to the other section.
So there is a nitro egg spawn. So I needed 2 extra nitro eggs here to blow up the robots, but the reason I did it, there we go. The reason we don't go for the spawn here is because the spawn is like a little to my left, and that's very far out of the way. So it's just easier to carry over extra. Okay. And, okay, that's an invisible wall, nothing exists. There we go. Yeah, sometimes that'll happen where you just, you can't. That happened. So that's 6 and 6. I saw both numbers, we're good. We're gonna do a quick death warp back here. This one's actually the fastest death warp in the game.
Ouch! It's unbearable!
Those are there to kind of tell you, like, hey, this is an extra area, you need a different gadget, so come back later. It's not the best indication of that. I think I have 7, right? 7's enough. 7 to get up. I only need 4, yeah. No, I had exactly 4, never mind.
Oh, I thought you fell back down the pipe there.
That wouldn't have been great. I probably would have been stuck there for a few seconds. So I have exactly 0 eggs, which is fine, because I only need, like, 2 until it's not a problem. 2 if I hit my shots. Which, I mean...
But there's a... Oh, wait. Oh, you should be fine.
Oh, well, not if I do that. I mean, there's a spawn right here, we're good. Remember that thing about hitting my shots?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. So we are heading into my favorite part of the movie, the minefield area, which I briefly alluded to earlier. So the minefield part is my favorite part of the movie, and I'll show everybody why in a second. Miss my shots. Okay. So, the minefield area, everybody remembers that part of the movie where the Grinch sent Max under a mattress and had him crushed. So that the giant robot that wanted to hurt the Grinch couldn't shoot him, so he could just progress through the minefield area like there was nothing wrong.
Yeah. So this section of the map doesn't have any nitro eggs, and you can't bring ammo between the like map areas. So what you need to do here is have the slime shooter to slime that robot. But for some reason, if we have Max under the mattress, the robot just can't see us.
And yeah, so that's why we skip the slime shooter, because you just don't need it. Max will do it for you. So we got the scissors, and we're going to now, I'm going to sneak early, because in my practice run I clipped through that floor a little bit. So we're going to sneak up.
This is the tiptoeing superpower that the Grinch didn't know we had.
So now we're going to give the Dump Guardian a haircut, but the Grinch isn't a good stylist, so he loses his face.
Everything but the eyebrows.
And a little bit on top too, but... so we're done in the minefield section. So this is actually a very complicated area, and it's also very tight. It might not look at... Some of the jumps are a little easier than others, but there are definitely a few tight jumps that if you miss, you have to watch that animation we just watched every single time. So it can be a little difficult to get used to at first. The intended way is actually... in a really bad angle for this. The intended way is you're supposed to use the rocket spring that we've been using to get to high places, and you're supposed to use that at every platform. So you'll see that's why there's eggs at every single jump. And they're always going to be 5. That's one of the very few places where they're always 5, because that will give you enough to make sure that you always have enough for a jump without having to wait around. But since I just double jump through them all, we get enough eggs for the rest of the game. So we're done with the green area and the blue area, and we're going to head into the final area, which is the only uncolored area. We are going to... There's 1 slice of pizza left and 1 robot. Or I guess, sorry, 1 robot guarding 1 pipe. And then that's all of the missions for the level. So there's a giant pipe here. I don't understand why there's this giant mechanical contraption here to, like, move some pipes around, but there is. There is... actually a way to skip the following cutscene. I don't actually know how it works on... Like, if it actually works on PC. Sorry, not this cutscene. The one for completing the pipes. I don't actually know if it works on PC, because every time I try it, it just like ports me back to the beginning, which actually wastes time over skipping the cutscene. But we've completed the 10th pipe, so we've put, I don't know why there's knockout gas in the dump, but we've piped all of the knockout gases into Hubrus's house. I wish I was making that name up.
Their name is Hubrus.
So we're done with the minefield, and there's definitely with the dump, and there's definitely no reason for us to be here anymore. So I'm gonna go pick up this box here. We're gonna see if I get the.
So after we complete three missions in every level, we assemble a sleigh that we use to hunt Santa Claus. But in this level, we can just cheat through the garage door and get the piece ahead of time. So then we won't have to revisit this level later.
It's a very precise trick, so hopefully I get it within the next 2 tries, but it wants to go.
See it.
There we go.
Camera angle, everything. It's just so important here.
And we are clipped in here, and there is no way to get out, so we gotta even quit. Load game. Let's see that one.
Seems right.
Looked like the right time and day.
So now we're going to the final stage, which is Cthulhu Lake. Oh no! First we have to complete the
that was
climber.
right. There we go.
And again, the reason Church is able to complete these puzzles is because he already knows what tile is supposed to be where, because we've routed so that we pick up the blueprints in the same order every time. So
God.
Here in Cthulhu Lake, our 3 missions are to ruin the Boy Scout campers' days. We have to put spines in 10 pairs of shorts, we have to destroy 10 tents, and we have to drill holes in 10 boats.
But first, so there's 2 sections to I did not need to do that like that. I could have just... Anyway. In order to get to... So there's... Who Lake is divided into 2 sections. South Lake and North Lake. And I believe we're on the South Lake right now. In order to get to North Lake, you have to be a Boy Scout, which the Grinch is not. So we have to go ruin this gentleman's day by first climbing an unscalable mountain to get to his home, which doesn't have a real door. So then we have to climb in through the chimney like Santa Claus. Then we have to ruin his meal and beat him up. So he is clearly not happy with that. So he's gonna kind of go into a blind rage here and just charge at us. And then we're gonna do
Hey, Church. A moose is loose about the hoose.
There's a moose loose about the hoose, eh? I can't believe you made me say that.
So this level has its own extra ammo, the porcupine thistles. These are what we're going to use to spike the shorts.
There we go. So, each porcupine will drop 3 thistles. You can semi-reliably get a porcupine to drop 4 by taking a little bit of damage while it's still, like, in its damage animation. However, it is technically possible... So, 4 doesn't save any time at all. You would have to get 5. And, exactly once or twice, I believe we talked about it, it was twice earlier... Twice has it happened where it's managed to drop 5, and it's both times been done by Eggplant.
I don't know how I did it.
We're pretty sure it's like frame perfect, and we don't know what frames.
Yeah, you have to like somehow get the porcupine to touch you twice while it's running away, and it like knocks you back. So I don't know how I managed. But the reason 4 is not useful is because the thistles don't do anything except spike shorts. Like you can't use them as regular egg ammo. And so you have to shoot away the extra ones in order to get more.
And the shorts are in groups of 2 and 3, so without having enough to skip a porcupine, then there's no point in having the extra ammo. So 4 would be worthless, 6 would be worthless.
Well, I mean, 6 would skip a porcupine.
We would have to maybe if we rerouted it, because it's like 3-2-3-2.
Yeah, but no. Like if you get 6, you can just use it like it's 5 and shoot off the extra one.
That's true, actually. You're right. Yeah, never mind. So yeah, just 4 would waste. Look, I don't need your logic in my my Grinch speedruns. Yep. Alright, so I need to stand on the part of this rock that doesn't exist here. Right there.
A well textured model.
Okay. I need to stand on this part of the rock that doesn't exist. There we go. Alright, I'm like 1 try away from just pushing the rock over. I'm just gonna push the rock. I don't know why that's not working, but I'm not gonna argue with it. I'm just gonna go on with my life.
I didn't know you could grab the corner like that.
I don't know that that's actually supposed to happen, but you know. I think it was just confused where to put me. So we've got 2 more boy shorts and 2 more tents. I'm just gonna do a blind jump over here to get this one.
Nice. I like how you hit the tent and then it didn't fall down again until it was on camera.
Yeah. Look.
Oh, you got 4.
If I don't, yeah, I got 4, which is fine because I don't actually need any more ammo until we like port out of the level, which will just take away my ammo anyway. It means I get 2 extra tries here, which apparently I needed 1.
Yeah, Grinch.
So one of the big things between the PC and the PlayStation copies is that it fixed a lot of the problems with despawning. So like I stopped there to complete the mission and then pick up the blueprint. On the PlayStation version, doing that, there was a very good chance that you despawned the blueprint and then you just can't complete the game. So on the PlayStation version, I would have picked up the blueprint first, which wastes a little bit of time, because while the blueprints are up, you can't actually use any of your abilities. But fortunately, we don't have to do that on PC. So we're now in the North Lake. This is where all of our boats are. So we're going to climb up here. There's a groundhog here with text that is very difficult to read. And then we're going to completely ignore him. So you've probably seen presents like literally everywhere throughout the game. Presents only serve the purpose of unlocking minigames, which we don't do. So
when we go to after we've constructed the sleigh, you'll see the minigame floor with doors that have numbers on them, like the Banjo-Kazooie music note doors or whatever. Yeah. Hopefully the game won't explain that, because that would mean we messed up.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, so there's a cutscene that I'm gonna hopefully skip, right? I only miss that skip when it matters. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. Eggplant briefly touched on this earlier. So the reason our blueprints are scattered everywhere is there was a very large gust of wind that just carried all of our blueprints away. And somehow they got into sealed boxes that we have to crush open.
Go, Max!
So we're gonna do
Makes sense to me.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna do a little bit of a skip here. We're going to have our good friend Max stand against this fence so we can jump over it with his back, which saves a little bit of time, so I'm gonna try and pan over here. So there's a scout leader over there, and the way that you're supposed to get rid of him is there is a female skunk over on the left side of the map, which we'll see in a little bit, and there is a cabin that Max goes in to get a blueprint where he gets covered in paint to look like a skunk. So you would have to lure the lady skunk over here to get him to leave, but Max running away takes a lot of time, so instead we just jump on his back. Max still helps us, just in a slightly different way.
Yeah. And the weirdest part about that is, like, Max doesn't have a hitbox anywhere else in the game.
Correct.
So
At least not...
we don't...
God.
We don't know why we can jump on Max there. We don't know if there are other places we can jump on Max. Again, if somebody can make visible hitboxes in this game, we can break a lot more stuff, and you'll get to see more Grinch on the show.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
So, yeah, I was just gonna say, but as far as we're aware, that's the only spot in the game where he has a hitbox.
Hurry up,
So we're gonna come in here, get Max painted anyway, but just for this blueprint.
Hopefully that mosquito stays there.
It looks like they're on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
So you should be clear.
So...
That mosquito can ruin Church's day. If the mosquito follows Church over to when he's going to push this rock, then he's going to have to keep grabbing onto the rock every time the mosquito bites him.
Yeah, because we while we have the costume on, we don't have access to any of our abilities, including the bad breath, which would normally kill it. So the intended way is there's like a bug zapper way back there that we're supposed to lure it to, but that's way more time than just dealing with it.
Alright, so now that we've completed all the levels, we have to do the revisits to get the sleigh parts. We already got one sleigh part in the dump. There are 4 more sleigh parts to get. 2 in the lake, and 1 in each of the other 2 levels. So to get one of them in the lake, we need this submarine.
Yeah, so we got the Grinch mobile, which is a submarine. I'm gonna admit I wasn't listening to what you said, so if I repeat anything you said, I'm sorry. There's 5 mini games. Each gives a blueprint. We skipped the one in Who Dump. I know you did just say that. There's 2 in this level and then 1 in all the other levels. So we're gonna do this one first, which I'm gonna miss this apparently. This is really awful tank controls, so that's why it's...
We have to maneuver this submarine in 3D space and collect all these pearls or eggs or whatever they are.
Oh my god,
That's seahorse thing.
No, I don't... Please stop. I didn't mean...
See how it works.
I did not mean to hit that.
A bonus cutscene.
Alright, so that's the first minigame. We're gonna complete the second minigame right now. Alright, second minigame's over. We'll move on to the...
So,
moving on.
the second mini game gives us like a GPS or something. You have to do some shooting. Stuff.
Yeah, it's a really bad mini game. So it's a really annoying mini game. You have to shoot a bunch of crows in 10 seconds, and you have to have enough ammo to do it. But turns out the GPS isn't necessary, so we don't.
Who needs a GPS?
Yeah, who needs GPS? Just use your eyes. You can see Santa, right?
So in this level, somebody is going to challenge our dog to a race, but unfortunately they're a slow who, and we have a dog, so no problem.
Nope. As long as I hit the end trigger.
And we get skis. That's the only sleigh part that has a name that's given to us.
The GPS might
Everything
give you
else.
the name. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know.
Yeah. All right.
But we get like a tire and some tubes and stuff. I don't know what they do for the sleigh, but there's like
I missed it.
Oh.
Yeah, I missed it because I was off a little bit. So that would have been a 1 cycle if I had hit all my shots.
So we have to shoot eggs into this van while the door is open. To 1 cycle it, Church has to avoid a bunch of damaging obstacles, the child, the snowball, another child, some music notes, and then shoot shots into the van. But couldn't get the setup right, and we had to do it in 2 cycles.
Which 2 cycles is actually a lot better than 3, so... this is the cutscene skip. Please make the jump. Alright, we're good. So these are the present doors. You can kind of see them there. Alright, they're all gone. We are heading into the final part of the game here. Which is we are going to chase down Santa Claus. So the Santa Claus fight has two parts. The first, we have to... So he's delivering his presents. A lot of people think that he climbs down into people's houses. He actually has such advanced technology that the presents have homing, like, technology on them. So they actually home into your chimney and then place themselves under the tree. Because otherwise, why would he be dropping presents like this out in the middle of nowhere? It makes no sense. It is mostly on rails, so we have, like, a little bit of control, but the sleigh actually just, like, kind of follows Santa's path for the most part. So we had to get 10 presents here, and then we're going to head into the final part of the game. Hopefully, if it doesn't crash, I'm not going to press any buttons after this.
I have a note here that says don't press A.
Yeah, do not press A. My hand is off the controller. Yeah.
Egg launcher equipped. Gotta hit Santa 10 times. The eggs will just shoot whichever way the Grinch is facing, so you have to like pick angles that will line up with Santa Claus.
Time.
Don't press A.
Do not press A. So, I recently got a new computer, and the most depressing thing about running this game now, on my old computer, this is a 19-year-old game, on my old computer, there was no audio in this cutscene, and a lot of the faces were messed up. For some reason, my new computer, even though this is a 19-year-old game, has sound, and the faces aren't messed up. I don't understand how, but...
They're just waking up. I know.
We actually would have lost audio like halfway through Who Lake.
So we lose sound effects in Who Dump, and then we lose music in Who Lake. You can see everybody's a cardboard cutout here, and there's like 4 real Who's. And there slowly becomes less and less Who's over the minute of the cutscene.
But it went on to grow. Instead of sad cries,
what was the time, by the way?
Merry. In spite of his victory, the mean
752 is really good.
How can it be so? I stole everything. The gifts, the
I'm
clay
impressed.
figures, the socks, the Christmas trees, and the Who's are still
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
happy?
That's a game, like,
How is it
it's a game
so?
that I will easily pick
How
up and
is it
speedrun probably.
so?
Yeah,
in the
see,
next couple
it's
of
a
days.
great game. There's
It is.
one thing. So I'm on the PC version, obviously. The PlayStation version has more skips and glitches,
Christmas.
but the load time is so bad that it doesn't matter. It's still slower.
What is happening to me?
But
What's the fastest you ever did on PlayStation version?
the fastest time I did on PlayStation was a long time ago, and I think it's a 39.
Max,
Wow.
Or no, it was a 36. Yeah, it was a 39.
A 36?
Yeah,
I can't. I will say this.
it's on the
Max.
leaderboard.
39.
I'm pretty sure it's a
I
39,
love you
and then
and
on PC is a
everybody.
36.
Yes, even
Let's
the Who's.
take a look at speedrun.
Let's go. We must bring them back their gifts.
While he's doing that, we will let you guys know that these hotfix shows are brought to you by viewers like you. If you would like to have ad-free viewing, consider using your Prime gaming account to support the weekly GDQ hotfix content. If you would like to support the channel in other ways, consider subbing to the channel or even sharing our shows on social media.
Sorry, go ahead.
With all we, if you've noticed, by the way, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Merry Christmas, Who's. I'm so sorry to have.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't
stolen
mean to cut you
Christmas.
off.
Please
I'm
forgive
grossly
me.
remembering the times. My time on PlayStation, which was first at the time and is now 4th, was 47.5 minutes.
There it is.
Wow.
It is.
At the time.
And now all the Who's are gone.
Yeah, all of the Who's are gone now. Yeah. Sorry to cut you off, Vesper. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, you're good. Okay, I'll just let you know. And in case you guys haven't noticed, we've also had a plethora of new hotfix shows. We got another one coming up right after this. That is going to be speedruns from the crypt. So we have so many new shows. For all the new shows, you can head on over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to find out more and even submit your runs. And also, don't forget that AGDQ 2021 Online is less than 2 weeks away. Less than 2 weeks. I'm so hyped. From January 3rd to January 10th, we're going to be having a week-long marathon benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prize submissions are now open until December 26th, so go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more. We're going to be back in just a little bit with Greenbat running Batman Arkham Origins. All right, welcome back to the Bargain Bin, everyone, a show all about speedrunning video games under $20. Once again, I am Midnight Vesper, and right now we're going to have a beautiful holiday run of Batman Arkham Origins by Greenbat. Cannot wait to see this. But before we do want to make a quick announcement that Awesome Games Done Quick 2021 Online is less than 2 weeks away. That's going to be January 3rd through the 10th. We're going to be having a week-long marathon benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prize submissions are going to be open until December 26th. Just go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more. Once again, here's Greenbat running Arkham Origins. How you doing, Greenbat?
Very pumped to start to showcase this.
Take it away.
All right. Now I have on my couch Chicken Nuggets here. He's going to help me commentate the run.
Hey, I'm Chicken. I'm mostly run Arkham City, but I am sort of familiar with Origins. Green's definitely the expert, though.
Yep. So yeah, first things first, before we do anything, you'll notice that the game's in French. It's because French is faster. It's 4 seconds faster for any percent in particular. So yeah, got that out of the way. Okay, so time should start after I skip the cutscene once I gain control here. All right, so let's get right into it. Okay, so 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So, Batman Arkham Origins is a prequel for the Arkham series, and it's set very early on in Batman's career. This is the end of his second year, and it's on Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve right now. And breaking news, Black Mask has infiltrated Blackgate Prison, and he's breaking out prisoners left and right. He also has the Commissioner hostage. So we need to do something about that. Also, this is the Warden, by the way, the guy with the eye patch. Also, after we save him, he does the responsible thing and he swings a pipe at us.
Of course. What else would you do?
Very
No one's ever
reasonable
seen this
response.
Batman guy before, so they're all a little terrified.
Yep. So this first segment, there's not a lot going on. Some bunch of minor glitches, bunch of optimized fights and movement and stuff. Let's see if I can pull this strat off. All right, that was perfect. That was a pretty quick fight. One thing you might have noticed that the guy coming out of that cell, I stunned him and then threw a batarang at him. So the back half of that cell actually has no collision. So when I throw him backwards, he falls through and dies out of bounds somewhere, which is pretty cool. That's the first glitch of the run, by the way. Also, in this fight, I'm going to be doing something called ground takedown cancels. Let Chicken explain that.
Yeah, so basically, when you go to do a ground takedown animation, and he did like one of those animations where he's jumping towards the guy, if you start mashing the quickfire back claw inputs, it just completely cancels that animation, and then you can chain those together to finish fights really quickly, because ground takedowns are an insta-kill.
Yep. Also, at the end of that fight, you notice that I threw a batarang out of bounds. I use alternate fire. Now, every gadget has alternate fire, and basically it's just the camera follows the gadget. You're just firing normally, but the camera follows the gadget. And this idea of alternate firing is very important. It's gonna come back later in a big way. So keep it at the back of your head.
Ground takedown cancels here, and this ground takedown cancel glitch is also in Arkham City because this game is pretty much based entirely on Arkham City's gameplay, so there's a lot of overlap with little things like that.
Yeah.
On dit que le crime ne paie pas. T'as signé ton arrêt de mort, l'homme. Ce soir, c'est notre soir. C'est vrai, il va tuer l'homme ce soir. J'ai pas signé pour me faire...
Another clean fight there.
Yep. So there's a weak wall here that we're gonna use an explosive gel to blow it up. And as I'm exploding, I'm gonna roll through. This skips a little animation where Batman gets stunned. It also puts us closer to this door so that it's open right after this cutscene.
Joseph, que vous serez récompensé pour toute information nous permettant d'arrêter les suspects.
So upcoming fight here. Don't actually have to do this one. There's a skip here. I'm gonna show you. Also, Commissioner Loeb just died. Whoops.
Oh man, hate when that happens.
Yep. So you can skip this fight. We climb this thing here. And then just go to the door. Normally this door is locked, but for some reason its trigger extends upwards. So if you're high enough, you can actually hit the trigger and open the door. That's pretty much the end of this little segment here. Our upcoming is our first boss fight, and it's gonna be Killer Croc, which is a big crocodile.
Who'd have guessed?
Yep.
La carte mémoire est endommagée, mais je devrais récupérer la plupart des données dans la Batcave.
Alright, so there's 3 phases here. There's actually a phase skip. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, so basically, you'll do like a stun and then a beatdown, and then after you do this little animation, you'll like try to throw a propane tank at you. And after the second one, after you do the beatdown, you're gonna just jump over him and try to stun him again, do another beatdown, so that he doesn't actually get a chance to throw anything at you.
So he tries to eat you here.
Yeah. He's a hungry crocodile.
Let's see if I can get it here. Alright, very nice.
Nice.
Got it.
It's not completely consistent, so I don't know what the actual odds of getting it are, but it's certainly not guaranteed.
That's the Killer Croc fight.
Now we got a big unskippable cutscene, first of many.
Yep.
Some story stuff happens.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Killer Croc was hired by Black Mask to kill us because Black Mask is a mobster. Batman's bad for business, so he's trying to get rid of us. He actually hired 8 assassins. Killer Croc's just one of them. We're only going to see, like, what, 3 or 4 of them in this run, though?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. They're not very good assassins. They can't even find you.
Yeah.
Au moins on sait qu'il ne sera pas moche.
Also, those assassins, there's actually a $50 million bounty on our head. So, yeah.
Yeah. They have some pretty good incentive to try.
It's pretty good for our second year as Batman.
Pas ce soir.
Kind of setting the bar high.
Yeah. It's all downhill from here.
Oh, yeah. So, there's this little memory chip that we got like a black gate right before the boss fight. And we're gonna go back to Batcave and see what's on it.
Batman est une légende, hein?
Now we're in the Batcave. here's Alfred, our butler. Say hi, Alfred.
Hi, Alfred.
Here's our little bat computer, version 0.9, still in the prototype stages. Couple of cutscenes here.
Il n'y a qu'une seule personne à Gotham qui puisse mettre la main sur.
We're gonna learn a lot here, but we learned that we need to find Penguin because he might know where Black Mask is.
We're totally gonna do that.
That's where, yeah, totally. There's arms yield going down. Also, there's a little dialogue skip here. So I hit the prompt and then I immediately close the menu and then I hit the prompt again and that skips a little bit of Alfred dialogue where he's just explaining to us how to fast travel, but we already know that, so we don't really care. So on the way to the city, we find out that something is jamming our auto navigation for the Batwing. So we track it down to this radio tower.
Who could possibly do such a thing?
Yeah, who knows? Guess we'll find out. So this little radio tower, it's not a lot going on. It's basically like a little tutorial area, and we pretty much do it intended, quote unquote, intended. It's just optimized movement stuff. There is actually an out of bounds thing you can do here, but it's actually slower, so we don't do it.
It's always a shame.
Yeah.
Mettez-vous à l'abri et appelez la police. Ils voudront voir ce qui se passe ici.
D'accord, je m'en charge.
These guys had no idea what was coming.
Tout ce que je veux.
That guy did, but it didn't matter.
Alright, so there's been an explosion here. So we're gonna set up a crime scene and analyze stuff to figure out what happened. So after we scan this, I'll run towards the door, and that'll make Batman say or trigger another Batman dialogue that's actually shorter than the dialogue you would normally say. That's a little skip there. Unfortunately, we can only use it once, so we use it on the longest dialogue.
Je devrais l'analyser pour trouver des indices. Le panneau a été piégé pour exploser.
These crime scene investigation things they're actually new to this game, and it's one of the cooler things that they added.
Yeah.
I think this is the only one we really see, but some of the ones later in the game are like really complex.
Yeah.
Je devrais la trouver en analysant la scène du crime.
So we have this little card thing here. Whoops. So we can hack this panel on the door.
Cette carte a les codes dont j'ai besoin pour pirater les panneaux d'accès de la tour.
And we're pretty much almost done with this little area. We just need to hack one last panel.
Contactez le GC.
But we get interrupted by this mysterious guy in glasses. I don't know who this guy is. Batman calls him Enigma. I don't know if that's relevant to anything.
Enigma.
Maybe someone can tell me.
Enigma. Nah. Probably just some rando.
Yeah, probably. Guess we'll never find out.
J'ai pris le contrôle des tours de ce genre dans toute la ville. Tant qu'elles seront actives, ta Batwing sera inutile. Et on dirait bien que ça va durer. franchement, celle-ci meurt d'envie d'être désactivée, mais t'y arriveras même pas. Dommage, mon vieux.
Little tiny dialogue skip coming up here.
De quoi est-ce que tu parles?
T'aimerais bien le savoir.
And that was that. The menu comes up here and it's a little bit of a tutorial. You just press the menu button as soon as it comes up and it skips it. Alright, so this is where the run really gets interesting. This is where we start to do stuff.
Je vais manquer de temps.
Everything completely
So we're-
opens up, and then we can.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to that arms deal to try and find Penguin, but on the way we're gonna do a couple of Dark Knight challenges. And Dark Knight challenges are like these like traversal or combat or stealth challenge that you can do for some extra XP and upgrades and stuff. So we do a couple of them here because they're free.
GCPD vient juste de signaler. Je peux aller enquêter et même peut-être arrêter.
That's one.
Mais je dois aussi m'occuper de la vente d'armes à Jezebel Plaza.
That's two. Alright, time to go to the arms deal. Except we're not gonna go to the arms deal. We're actually gonna take a little bit of a detour. We're gonna go to the end of the game. Now, probably wondering, well, if you're gonna go to the end of the game right now, then why is the estimate an hour and a half? Well, fortunately, it's not that simple, and I'll explain more in a bit.
Je vais éliminer ces
Upcoming here is a out of bounds glitch called the Bane Glide. Maybe Chicken could tell us more about that.
Yeah, so this is sort of it's the first critical piece to doing the route in this very strange order we're going to do it in. This is probably the hardest thing in the game. Basically, so Bane's hideout is like hidden in this alleyway, and right now we're not supposed to be able to get to it, so we need to go from out of bounds and glide into it. So you'll see what crazy nonsense we have to do here in a moment. Start there. You have to hug the ceiling very closely here. Dive just the right amount. There's a ceiling here that you can glide right through. There's no collision on it or anything. Then once you're in this corridor, you have to be very careful here because there's a lot of invisible geometry that you can collide with.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Like I said, this is the hardest thing in the game, so might take a couple tries.
In the meantime, I did have a question that I saw in chat. That I saw a couple questions. Do you mind if I ask one real fast?
Sure, go for it.
Sure.
Okay. Was it Gibi Usum? I sincerely apologize if I mispronounced that. Was because you were talking about all unskippable cutscenes earlier. Do you know how much could be saved if there was a cutscene skip patch?
Several minutes for sure.
Yeah, probably. I don't have an exact number, but definitely a lot of time.
Okay, nice. Made it through that time. So now there's a little vent there that he's trying to land on. And then once we do that, everything will sort of start to pop in. Here we go. Down over towards the sewers. It'll cause more things to load in. And that's Bane's hideout right there. So fortunately, the door is just sitting right at the edge. There you go.
All right.
Second try is not bad.
Yeah, pretty good. So luckily for us, we need to get out of bounds, and luckily for us, there's a little hole in the ceiling here that we can just drop through. Very convenient. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna trigger a cutscene that's gonna progress the story, and then we're gonna get out through out of bounds the same way we came in, basically. Because we can't go out the normal way, because we don't have a gadget, and it's the glue grenade.
Alfred, Ben sait qui je suis. Vous êtes en danger au manoir.
We need that to get out the normal way.
Je dois retourner à la Batcave. Et
But since we skipped it, we can't do that. So we're gonna do a little roll here. I'm gonna land on the railing of the stairs. All right.
Very
Now we're
nice.
back out of bounds.
That roll is harder than it looks.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna go back to the Batcave. And once we go back to the Batcave, it's actually just gonna give us glue grenades, which is nice for us.
Yep.
So, like I said, that was basically like a very... Also, yeah, Alfred. There's another Alfred that pops up here because of the glitch we did.
Hey, Alfred.
There's actually two... Yeah, there's actually two Alfreds in the Batcave right now because of that glitch. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, we went to an area that's basically at the end of the game, but we can't go finish the game yet because we need the shock gloves, which is a gadget that we get later on. So what we do is we go back to an earlier point in the game, and then we start progressing the story from there until we get the shock gloves, at which point we just go finish the game. It's very complicated. You're probably not going to be able to follow it all, but you know, it doesn't really matter. Just enjoy the ride.
Try to explain as much as we can as we go here.
Yeah. So we got the glue grenades, we get out. I'm gonna go to the GCPD because that's the latest point you can actually start progressing the game from.
Nous avons des otages en danger. Mettez-vous en position et préparez-vous à foncer sur mes ordres. Ne provoquez pas le suspect et ne l'attaquez pas. Il y a des otages sur le niveau inférieur du pont. Mettez-vous simplement en position.
Gonna do a little Spider-Manning here.
Je dois filer à la position de Bane avant de reperdre la trace du signal.
So before we go in, we have this panel here. This actually will skip a cutscene that will happen once we get out of this area, once we're getting out. So now we go to the GCPD, and there's a glitch coming up here. It's called the butterfly glide. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to explain, but you'll sort of understand when you see it. Basically, it's a really slow way of moving. Like, you move very slowly, but you move up over time. So it lets you gain height. The way you do it is basically just whenever you start gliding, you flick the camera up a little bit at just the right time when the cape opens, and then we'll see what happens here.
Didn't get it there.
This is the hardest place in the game to do butterfly, right?
Yeah, because you don't have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah, because you're in this tiny elevator shaft, so this might take a couple tries. And the reason he's waiting here is because you have to wait for the elevator to go a certain amount down. Otherwise, you can't actually start a glide. Otherwise, he'll just jump.
All right. I promise it's worth it.
Un autre tuyau a dû exploser. Je un œil, mais tu vois, c'est tout la tournée.
All right, there we go.
So yeah, it looks a little strange.
Yeah, definitely. You can probably see why we called it a butterfly.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna go into the sewers, which is right here, which is the place we were when we were hacking that panel. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't just go here when I was here. And the reason is we needed to trigger that elevator. We needed the elevator to go down because there's a gadget here that we're gonna get to progress the story, and it's a disruptor. If that elevator didn't go down, then the disruptor wouldn't have spawned, and we wouldn't be able to progress the story. That's why we do that. Also, another butterfly coming up here is probably one of the easier ones.
Yeah, you have a lot more space to work with here. The reason we have to do it here is because at this point in the story, you're supposed to have something called the remote claw, and that would basically just create a tightrope right at the top of the, whatever this thing is. And you would just grapple up to that, but since we don't have that gadget, because we skipped a huge chunk of the game, we have to butterfly up there instead.
So there's a disruptor there. As soon as we get it, we're gonna reload from checkpoint. It's not necessary, but it saves a couple seconds. So I'm gonna do upcoming glitch here, something called the door cancel. Maybe Chicken can tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically, we mentioned the alternate fire for a gadget before, also known as the cinematic fire, because it gives you like a little thing where you watch the gadget shoot or move or whatever. So we're going to do that at the same time as trying to open the door. And, oh, nice, first try. So that interrupts the animation of opening the door and causes the room you're in to deload.
It's also frame perfect.
Yeah. At 62 frames per second is what we run this game at. So it's not easy to get first try.
Is there a reason why it's specifically 62? Is that a curiosity?
Normally it's 60, but 60. There's a very specific glitch that only works on 62. It's a backup, but we still keep it at 62 because Arkham City, like the game before this one, was also capped at 62. So we just cap it at 62 as well. By default, it's uncapped, but we cap it because we need to do these glitches and frame perfect stuff.
Doing the door cancels at like 300 FPS would be impossible. So we have to cap it to something. And VSync changes how the butterfly behaves, so we don't want to use that. So we have to actually cap the frame rate with something.
Yeah. Also, I bought my first few upgrades here. Now I bought up to the double battering. Now the double battering is this very overpowered gadget, and it's only in this game. And you'll see here how overpowered it is.
Yeah, you can basically just spam multi-batterings to win every encounter, whether it's combat or predator.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most overpowered gadgets in the entire series.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on the console version or just playing with controller, it's actually not bound at all. So you can only use it on keyboard and mouse.
So you can actually buy up until triple batterings. We're gonna do that later because we didn't have enough upgrade points there. So there's a cutscene coming up here. It's an in-game cutscene, and what's nice about it is there's a very small window where you have control of that man. You can drop a smoke bomb, and it's actually gonna show up in the cutscene, which is pretty cool.
It's really cool with the smoke, especially like the way his eyes glow when he's in the smoke. It's perfect. It's like the actual game should have just been like that.
Now we're gonna go back into the sewers, just from a different entrance. I'm gonna get a call from Barbara Gordon here. No, the call, there's nothing important in the call, it's just about a side mission. But what's important is that we have to wait for the call to finish before we go in. The reason for that is if we don't wait, once we get out from the other side, we won't be able to fast travel right away. So we have to wait. Alright, there we go. So a fight skip coming up here. So what we do, I'll equip the glue grenade here, and I'll use it to skip a cutscene. So I throw the glue grenade at this guy, and it skips a cutscene there. Also, we don't need to do this fight, we can just drop a smoke bomb and blow up this wall. Now, doing this whole glue grenade thing, what it does is it's supposed to despawn the guys in the next area. It's not 100% consistent. I didn't get it there, unfortunately. So we're gonna do one of the backups. which are probably cooler looking than the actual thing.
Yeah, if you get lucky with things despawning, you just go straight to the exit. It's not very flashy compared to this. There's 5 different ways to do this room.
4.
4.
All right. Cancel this door. Now we're back in bounds. We can just keep going. All right, another fight skip coming up here. We're gonna boost up this thing here. Gonna go over here. Gonna jump off this thing. Gonna go all the way down. I'm gonna hit a warp trigger here. It's gonna take us out of bounds. And we need to go to that door all the way over there. So we're just gonna go there. And once we're through, we're gonna reload from checkpoint twice. It's very important that it's twice, because if we do it once, we're just gonna stay stuck out of bounds. Okay, that's once, that's twice. So there's that. That's pretty much the sewer's done.
Alfred, avons-nous accès à
Very
la
nice.
base de données nationale des criminels?
Connexion confirmée. Vous pouvez procéder à l'analyse ADN. J'envoie aussi le dossier de la police pour l'affaire des Lacey Towers.
So here we're learning about a crime scene that we didn't investigate.
Yeah.
Ça correspond parfaitement.
We don't really. It's not important what we learn here. What's important is that we need to go to a bank now.
Police a négligé. Roman Sionis est le propriétaire.
Gotham
sorry.
Merchants Bank.
So you know, Black Mask owns a bank, and we're gonna go there for some
Il a
reason.
installé une sécurité
Yeah.
biométrique que lui seul peut franchir. Alfred, j'ai assez d'informations. Alfred, voyez si vous trouvez des informations sur une personne.
So we're gonna exit the sewers here. Now normally there's a cutscene here. It's for a side mission. But since we hacked the panel earlier, we skipped that cutscene, and it actually breaks the side mission. And maybe if we have time at the end, I can show you exactly how it breaks the side mission. Because you can still go. The side mission is Mad Hatter, and you can actually still go to his lair, but it's completely broken.
So if we
So
played through
just
the
need to go-
story normally here, we would actually have a fast travel point on the other island. But since we don't, we just have to glide over there.
Yeah, and the other island, a lot closer to the bank.
Yeah.
So as we're approaching the bank here, the clock is going to strike midnight, which means it's Christmas. And Alfred's going to give us a little cute call here and he's going to wish us a Merry Christmas. Very nice of Alfred.
Je voulais vous souhaiter un joyeux Noël.
À vous aussi.
Merry Christmas, Alfred.
So we're going to buy our last upgrade of the run here. It's going to be the triple battering. And as mentioned, they work in both combat and stealth encounters, which is very good for us.
Ils sont tous morts. Mais je sens qu'il se passe autre chose ici.
Cutscene here that we skip.
It's like a big plot twist here or something. I don't know. It's not that important.
Yeah. Something about Joker being behind the whole thing. I don't know. It's probably not that important. Who's the last guy? Okay.
It's always the worst guy.
Yeah. So as you just saw there, multi-rings just completely annihilated that room. So after we interrogate that guy, he tells us Black Mask is at the steel mill, so that's where we're gonna go next. Don't need to fight these guys.
Quoi que ces relais protègent, ce doit être dangereux.
Most of the fights in these games, you just go right past them and nothing will happen.
Yeah.
Especially in the open world, because obviously you can just fly away. But even in like certain buildings, like the AI just like isn't mapped to leave the room that they're in, so they just won't follow you.
Yep. So we're pushing the steel mill, and we're actually gonna enter it from out of bounds, and do a little skip once we get in.
There's another one of these fun walls with no collision back here, so we're gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah, a lot of walls in this game don't have any collision.
Yeah, and I think they're all the same walls that they are in Arkham City, because this whole section of the map is the same map as Arkham City.
Yeah, I believe so too. Like the Bane Glide was actually found because that same out of bounds was actually in Arkham City.
Yeah.
Okay, so going through the door from the other side takes us out of bounds inside the steel mill. So we're gonna do another butterfly glide here. I'm gonna go all the way up over there. This skips a fight and a little puzzle. Not a lot, but time save is time save.
And it's always good to see more butterfly.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna glide up this thing. Conveniently for us, the ceiling here has no collision, so we can just drop right through.
Classic. Nicely done.
Couple fights here, then another out of bounds glitch.
Je dois trouver un moyen d'entrer dans la pièce.
So you'll notice there's an armored thug here. Now those thugs are pretty easy to deal with. You can just roll over them and use multi-rings. Or you can use the glue grenades, which actually makes them vulnerable to multi-rings as well. Right, that's fight number one. Right, so there is a brute, an armored brute as well. Normally you do a triple stun and then do a beatdown to take off his armor first. But we can actually just use a special combo takedown. Like that. There goes his armor.
Just yank it off.
Now you leave them till last, and that's important because whoever the last enemy is, they get reduced health. So it's much faster to leave them till last. So another out of bounds glitch here. Light up this thing. And we whack the camera all the way to the right here. Batman's gonna climb. We're gonna wiggle till Batman drops. Then we glide. Gonna glide backwards a little bit, just to make sure that the area below that isn't loaded in. So as soon as we get close to this door, the area is actually gonna load around us. We're gonna cancel the door. Right, perfect. Okay, so that basically skipped the elevator ride down. It also skipped the elevator ride up. And you're gonna see that once we get back here. There's a stealth encounter here. Got a nice little strat for it, if I can pull it off. Okay.
Another very useful thing you can do, Predators, is just when somebody's near an edge or a railing or something, you can just pull them with the bat claw, and that'll take them out instantly if they fly over. Or it's supposed to anyway. Sometimes it doesn't.
That wasn't a bad room. Okay, so Black Mask is in this room. I'm gonna go interrogate him, find out what's going on. Alright, skip the cutscene. And now Copperhead's here. She just teleported here out of nowhere. And she poisoned us. And now we're gonna die. Rest in peace, Batman.
Oh man. This is just not our night, is it?
Nope.
First the Commissioner, now us.
Yeah.
And on Christmas, too.
Yeah. Really rough day for Batman. So obviously we're not gonna die. We're gonna scan her poison, and we're gonna send a little sample to Alfred back at the Batcave, and he's gonna make us a little cure. So yeah, we're not gonna die.
Copperhead est passé par là. Il me suffit d'une seule goutte de poison.
If you're wondering why Copperhead is here, who it even is, she's one of the assassins that Black Mask hired.
Yep.
Alfred.
So we just send it to Alfred. Now we just need to get outside so he can drop it for us. So Batman's gonna hallucinate a little bit here. This is a lot like the fear toxin. Scarecrow's fear toxin, if you're familiar with that guy.
It's the budget fear toxin, if you will.
Yep. So we're gonna start seeing Alfred here. He's very disappointed at us, you know. He's not very happy. He's like, you know, what kind of person would wear a Halloween costume on Christmas Eve, you know, like, who does that? He's very disappointed.
Wait, that's not the norm? That's what I've done my entire life.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to break it to you.
Oh, man.
Alfred is disappointed in you.
Oh. Of all the people. Alfred. That was...
Alright, so Copperhead's here. We're gonna fight her, of course. Time to finish this. Okay, let's punch her here. And she's gone. Well, better luck next time. Also, the Commissioner just popped up. You know, he's also very disappointed in us. You know, he's like, you know, you could have saved me, but you didn't, or whatever.
Who is that again?
I don't know, you know, just some guy who died at the beginning of the game.
Oh well.
Not very
Tough
important.
break, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, so once we go through this door, there's an elevator we go up, but we're gonna get a checkpoint, and I'm gonna reload from checkpoint, and it's gonna take us all the way up, skipping the elevator ride. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about that out of bounds thing, skipping the elevator ride down and up. So the Copperhead boss fight's coming up here. For real this time. Not this, those are just some clones. This is the real boss fight. Alright. So there's a phase skip here, maybe you can tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically Copperhead spawns a bunch of clones here, so what we're going to do is drop smoke and then do a beatdown on the real Copperhead. Just get a bunch of damage in early on.
Alright, cool. That's phase 1. There's 3 phases. That was phase 1. Now, second phase, we have to take out all the clones, and luckily for us, the multi-rangs are a one-hit KO on all the clones, which is very convenient for us. It makes this fight go really fast.
We also have to be careful with these because you can actually get Copperhead stuck outside of the fight arena.
Yeah. If you like spam her with too much multi-rangs, you'll actually just clip out of bounds, and you'll have to restart from checkpoint. Okay, so that was phase 2. Phase 3, she's just gonna keep spawning clones on us. And we place explosive gel on the ground to take them out as soon as they spawn. Now it's important that we place it manually because manually has a wider range than quick firing it. So yeah, it has a higher chance of just sticking them out all at once. Just gonna do this like 5 times. Alright. And there's our cure right there. Alfred coming in clutch.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Let's
So we're
just
gonna
had it
take the
on hand.
cure. Yeah, we're gonna take the cure, and luckily Copperhead's not gonna attack us while we take it. Very convenient for us. Okay, so now we're all cured, and now let's fight Copperhead for real this time. Alright, so... And 1 punch. That's it. That's the fight.
Nice. So right now she's just telling us like all the assassins are having some kind of meeting, and she'll tell us where the meeting is if we let her go. But obviously we're not going to do that.
Yeah, because we already know. Well, technically we already know.
We know how to find it.
Yeah, as soon as we touch this door, we're gonna teleport back to the entrance, and we're gonna reload from checkpoint. Now we teleport because of that little out of bounds thing we did all the way at the beginning, and we reload from checkpoint because if we don't, we're actually gonna be stuck out of bounds. There's actually double the amount of enemies that would normally be here because the fight that was here at the beginning, the guys didn't despawn, so we just have to fight all of them at once. So that's that.
Hardly matters because of how fast we can clear rooms.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Batman already knows. So how he knows is I mentioned the shock gloves, which is the gadget that we need. So he can track the shock gloves somehow. You know, some electromagnetic wave stuff. Who knows?
Je n'ai pas repéré le signal de l'électrocuteur.
So he's trying to track it from here, but he can't because he's too low. So we're gonna go to a higher point in the game. We're gonna go to the middle of the bridge here.
Désolé de vous déranger, monsieur, mais on signale des troubles dans les environs. Je vous mets les coordonnées sur la carte pour que vous puissiez mener l'enquête.
Alright, so we're
So I
gonna
did see
track.
this.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I saw some people in chat asking this earlier, and I was gonna ask it now. Like, out of all the villains in the entire Batman universe, what would you say is probably your favorite, either like in this game or just in general?
I'd say Mr. Freeze. I like an empathetic villain.
I would also say Mr. Freeze. Bane is also a pretty good choice.
Yeah, Bane is pretty good. So we track the shock gloves, and we find out that they're at a hotel, the Gotham Royal Hotel. So we're going there now. The Gotham Royal Hotel is actually one of the longest interior areas that we have to do. But thank God, we get the shock gloves pretty early on, so we don't need to do like 90% of it.
Yeah, and they didn't lock the front door like they sometimes do, so you just grab what you need and leave.
Yep.
Le Joker a réservé le Royal. Mais pourquoi le SWAT assure la sécurité? Je vais devoir découvrir ce qui se passe ici.
À toutes les unités, tout le monde doit être en mission. Pas de 10-10 pour le moment.
You can glide up this little railing here.
Yeah, gliding is like always faster than running, so anytime you have the opportunity to glide, you pretty much always want to use it.
Yeah. So little tiny skip coming up here.
Yeah, so there's a button that we have to push. Fortunately, we can just reach through this window here once we glide up to it and just push it there.
Yeah, normally you'd have to do this fight and then a little puzzle and hack the panel or wherever, but now we're Batman, we can just glide up there and reach the window.
Yep. Enjoy the Christmassy elevator music.
Tis the season.
Il y a assez d'explosifs pour détruire tout le bâtiment. Je me demande quelles autres surprises m'attendent.
So, little self-encounter here. I'm not gonna do a self-encounter, of course. This guy can't aim. Those guys can.
Yeah, since it's on easy, there's like a 50% chance that they can actually hit you, and then when they do, it like doesn't even do any damage.
Je dois entrer dans la salle de sécurité.
Alright. Little cutscene here. Some stuff happens, I don't know, some story stuff. We don't really care about it. What's important is, after we skip it, the shock gloves are gonna teleport right down to us, which is very, very nice for us.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Cet ascenseur devrait me permettre d'atteindre le plafond pour sortir.
Just ignore the dead body attached to them. It's not important at all.
Rest in peace, Lester Buczynski.
Whoever that is. So
Yeah, I
we're
don't
ult
know.
from checkpoint here. We're ult from checkpoint as soon as we get them because that's a little bit faster. About 2 seconds faster. Because Batman likes to do this thing where he, as soon as he gets a new gadget, he'll just stare at it for a little while. Okay, so, got the shock gloves. We can exit the hotel and just go end the game, pretty much.
Yeah, we're headed to the bridge where Firefly is, which is the second last big area before we get railroaded into the actual finale.
Also, this elevator ride takes a little bit because the game doesn't expect you back here so soon. Doesn't expect you here at all, actually. You're not supposed to take the elevator down at all. It takes a little bit to load.
Yeah, normally once you go through everything, there's like a cutscene that takes you out, so
yeah.
Didn't think anyone would actually go this way.
So we get out, we're gonna fast travel near to the bridge. So I'm gonna enter the bridge here. Now, Firefly is actually here in the bridge destroying stuff. You're just gonna have to take my word for it, but he's totally there.
Yeah,
Totally
he's
wreaking
attacking the
havoc.
bridge as we speak. Can't you
Yep.
see it?
So we go in, Jim Gordon's here, and we talk to him and we find out that Firefly has a bunch of bombs set up all over the bridge, so we're gonna go disable those. Except not all of them, because we skipped some of them.
Yeah, he has 3 bombs, which means we're going to disarm like 1.
Yep. Well, he has 4, but Jim.
All right.
Whoops. Jim disarms one of them. Didn't mean to do that.
À toutes les unités, restez en position. Personne n'entre sans que je leur donne.
So we power up this generator with shock gloves. And fun fact, this is the only thing that we need the shock gloves for. That little generator there is why we do this whole complicated backtrack thing to get the shock gloves. So yeah, that's nice.
One day.
Yeah, one day. So another out of bounds thing here. I'm gonna cancel this door.
And you're getting those like first try today.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I'm gonna navigate this area without knowing where I'm going, without seeing where I'm going. I guess. Okay, that way. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna get out of this vent, and you're just gonna have to trust me. But well, the first bomb is right in front of us here. It's totally
right
there,
there.
but you just can't see it.
Combien de bombes Firefly a posées, ainsi que leur position.
But we're gonna completely ignore that and do a butterfly glide.
Yeah, it's not really our problem.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll disarm itself. I'm gonna do a butterfly
always
glide,
do.
and we're gonna do butterfly glide. I'm gonna go all the way up. And we'll notice the color of the sky change. When it does that, it means that the room with the bomb actually deloaded. Which means we can just go up. So we're gonna go through this little window here, and it's important that I maintain my butterfly. I can't lose it here. Because there's a ladder at the end of this room that we need to climb. But because of all the glitching, there's an invisible wire right in front of it, so we can't climb it normally. So we're gonna have to use this butterfly. That's the ladder.
This one's also pretty hard because you got to go through some pretty tiny corridors.
Luckily, this one doesn't have any invisible walls in front of it, so we can just climb that.
Very nice.
Right. Second bomb here. This one we can't skip. We have to do this one.
Firefly a enfermé ses
Just
otages
need to
dans un
clear
plafond
these
bourré
locks first.
d'explosifs.
Bravo 2, ici le commandement. Au rapport.
So we go through this window here and press this button. It'll lower the train so we can actually disarm the bomb.
Fun fact, if we have to reload checkpoint there, for some reason an invisible wall shows up around the window and we can't actually batarang it. So we have to go up like normally, which is very lame.
Yeah, very lame indeed.
Dites rien, il partira peut-être. Mais n'importe quoi. Pourquoi il ferait ce qu'il a fait s'il n'était pas là pour nous aider? Si vous en êtes si sûr, pourquoi vous chuchotez?
Vous allez la fermer. On va voir ce qu'il va faire.
So, I'm gonna cancel another door here. I'm gonna do another butterfly out of bounds. It's the door that we just came from.
Yeah, so basically what's happening here is we're going to go over the bridge. So like from one side of it all the way to the other. So we're going to cancel this door here, and then we're gonna check to make sure the door on the other side actually spawned in.
Yeah. So
Usually
we have
it doesn't.
Yeah, we have to just go through this door a couple times. And that's the door we need to spawn in. So I know it spawned in, so I just go back. I'm gonna climb this little pipe here. I'm gonna do another butterfly. Okay, Evan likes to climb that railing sometimes.
Yeah, this one's tricky just because of the amount of invisible stuff you have to worry about.
Vous remercions pour votre patience durant cette période chargée. Au nom de l'équipe de la GTC,
Okay, anytime now. Alright, there we go. Should be good now. So I'm just gonna keep ascending here. Until Batman climbs this thing. So now we're at the top of the bridge. We can just go across it here and glide to that door we mentioned.
Yep.
But we can't go to it directly because a bunch of geometry extends out and we can't see it. So we're gonna go a little bit further and then turn around. Luckily, we don't need to cancel this door because there are a bunch of steel bars there that stop Batman from going through the door. So just close in the area.
Very nicely done. That whole skip is pretty difficult. I know I struggle with it a lot.
Yeah. So one last fight, and then we're gonna do the Firefly boss fight. Also, as you can see, he's totally, completely destroyed the bridge. That was totally there before, you just didn't see it.
Attends, je vais tout expliquer. Mettez-le à terre.
So let me know if you got another second. So there was another good question in chat.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So this game has a lot of different categories, like easy, medium, hard. I think it was Eye in the Dark 9%.
Yeah.
Is there any major differences between them other than like difficulty in terms of like enemies or combat and stuff like that?
Yeah, so on higher difficulties, you take more damage. You also, enemies also take more damage. And yeah, it's just basically enemy stuff. Not a lot of enemies spot you faster. It's just general difficulty, not a lot of huge differences.
And in
Normally,
New Game,
yeah.
In New Game
New
Plus,
Game-
you start with all the gadgets and upgrades and stuff. And there's also I Am the Night mode, which is permadeath.
Yeah, no, normally in all the other Arkham games, in New Game Plus, you would start with all your gadgets. But in this game, you don't for some reason. So that's unfortunate for the speedrun. So it just ends up being any % with all of your upgrades. So for Firefly here, the strat is basically just throw batarangs at him, and then more batarangs and more batarangs until you just finish the phase. Oh, I did it wrong? Alright, it's not a big deal. I was just one batarang off. There's two phases. This is the end of phase 1. And in between the phases, there's a little chase. Firefly chases you across the bridge. You can skip that. You'll see. So we're gonna run off to the right here. We're gonna run off to the right, and as soon as we hear the cape spread, I'm gonna turn the camera. I'm gonna hit a warp trigger. It's gonna take us back to the bridge, but doing this will actually break the camera. It'll break here in a second, and I have to do this without seeing where I'm going. All right, nice. That was good. Okay, so gonna get a checkpoint. I'm gonna reload, and that will fix the camera for us. All right, this is second phase. Just more batarangs.
Yeah, pretty much the same idea, just with more things to dodge. So while we're here, have a look at the size of those cars.
Very, very disproportional. That was pretty much the second phase. We just need to dodge one last round of attacks, and then that's going to be the end of the fight.
C'est le bon moment. La seule option, c'est de m'activer à Firefly.
So we're gonna grapple onto Firefly here, and there's gonna be a couple of QTEs here. You can actually fail the first one, and you'll be fine, but you can't fail the second one.
And a fun fact with that second one, if you're playing on the permadeath mode, there's nothing to show you that you need to interact with the QTE there. So then you can fail it and die and have to start the game all over again. It's pretty fun.
Yep. Yeah. That was Firefly. So now, when we went to Bane's hideout at the beginning of the game, when we did that glitch, we learned in that cutscene that we triggered, we learned that Bane actually found out who we were. And right now he's calling us from the Batcave, telling us that he's pretty much killed Alfred, but he left just enough life in him for him to say goodbye to us. So we're gonna rush off to the Batcave to save him. So the Batcave is pretty wrecked, pretty destroyed. We're gonna fix our back computer here, so we can get our detective vision back, so we can look for Alfred. But we already know where Alfred is, so we don't have to look for him. He's over here. Somehow he ended up over here.
Alfred, vous m'entendez? Je vais vous sortir de là. Alfred! Alfred!
So Alfred's dead. Rest in peace, Alfred.
Man, not again.
Except we remember we have defibrillators built into our hands, so we can just revive him. Which is pretty
good.
convenient.
Had me worried there for a second.
Yeah. Alright, big unskippable cutscene here.
Monsieur, je sais que je ne vous ai pas toujours soutenu comme j'aurais dû.
So Batman's understandably upset, he's very disappointed, he's annoyed, almost lost his long life companion here, his butler. He's very down in the dumps. He's pretty much considering quitting the whole Batman thing. He's like, I can't even defend my own home. How can I defend this entire city? But Alfred is not about that at all. He's like, you can't give up. The city needs you, and all that. And he basically tells him that you've been doing it wrong. You can't do it alone. No man is an island, or something to that effect. And he's all like, the only way to beat Joker and save the city is through the power of friendship. So that's what we're gonna use, the power of friendship. Batman's convinced, of course, and he's like, you know what, Alfred, you're right. Hashtag besties for life. And he goes off to save the city. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm not sure if that's what they're actually saying.
I feel like it's a good way. I feel like that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
The assassins were the friends we made along the way, or something. I don't know.
Exactly. Friendship is a huge power.
Definitely.
À vous de jouer. Non. À nous de jouer.
So we're gonna go back to Blackgate. Apparently the Joker broke in, and he's staging a breakout, and he's freeing prisoners left and right. He's causing all kinds of chaos. This is only the first time he's doing this, not the second time. Definitely not the second time.
Definitely not.
C'est Batman!
Fortunately, these prisoners don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Merci. Merci pour... J'aurais besoin de vous. Le capitaine Gordon est en route. Sécurisez la porte pour lui, puis aidez-le à boucler cet endroit. Le Joker ne doit
And
pas...
Batman asks these guys for help to show that he's grown as a person.
Yep.
Monsieur, j'ai écouté les rapports provenant de Blackgate.
C'est moi.
So one last butterfly coming up here. This is our very last butterfly of the run. And it's a little tricky.
Yeah, because in the next room, there's going to be a bunch of electric water. So we need, and also the ceiling is pretty low. So we have to glide low so that we don't crash into the ceiling or anything, but not too low, because if you touch the electric water, then you die.
Yep.
So it's a little precarious.
Just need to kind of maintain our height here. All right, there we go.
Very nice. That was the last really big glitch in the run, so it's pretty much just going through intended-ish.
I know it may be a little bit late, but I just want to point out that my next rock band is probably going to be called Electric Water now.
Nice.
Hey, on y est presque. Le voilà.
So, big predator room coming up. Now, luckily for us, there's a very nice strat we can do here.
Écoutez tout le monde, ici le directeur Joker. Content que vous soyez tous là pour le clou du spectacle.
We'll backlog this guy off here, off the ledge. We're gonna go up here. I'm gonna throw this guy off, and everybody's gonna start coming up here. And as they're coming up, we can just throw them off with the batarangs. Bye-bye. Alright, more are gonna start coming up here. See you later. See you next fall.
And even as they see all their friends fall off, they're still gonna climb up and fall for the exact same trap.
Oh yeah. There we go. That's it. That's the rule.
Je devrais aller voir les otages avant de partir. Pourrait m'indiquer où se trouve le Joker.
Also, this is Harleen Quinzel. This is one of the doctors here. She's not that important, I'm pretty sure.
Nah. Definitely will not be in any of the other games, for sure.
C'est les risques du métier. Écoute, je sais pourquoi t'es là. Il est dans le panoptique. Et je crois qu'il t'attend.
One tiny thing you can do here, you can grapple for this gargoyle, then cancel it. So a bunch of big fights coming up here, and then we're gonna get closer at the end of the game. Also, here's Deathstroke. He's here somehow. We didn't apprehend him. You know, he somehow ended up here. We didn't do anything to him.
He just turned himself in.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah, he realized we.
He didn't really want the 50 million anyway.
Yeah.
No matter how many times I see this, it's still so satisfying to just clear rooms this quickly.
Oh yeah. If you weren't convinced by the power of the multi-rings, this should have definitely changed your mind. I meant to use a blue grenade there. Didn't do it in time. Alright. Bane boss fight coming up. Another unskippable cousin here. So Joker has the Warden hostage. He's that guy from the beginning of the game, the eye patch. And he's not gonna let him go unless we play along with this little game here. So the premise is he's gonna strap himself into an electric chair and he's gonna give Bane this heart monitor that powers the electric chair. So the idea here is we either kill Bane, let ourselves die, or Joker dies. So yeah. Now, since Bane killed Alfred, we're just gonna straight up kill Bane as revenge. So yeah, we don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, not much of a game. Just kill Bane, easy.
Ce que notre ami Bane tient dans la main, c'est un moniteur cardiaque. Une fois activé, tous les battements de son petit cœur vide chargeront la batterie.
The whole like no kill rule thing, and forget it.
Yeah, don't need to worry about that.
Une fois chargé à fond,
All the rules go out the window when you come anywhere near Alfred.
Yeah.
Non, je ne le tuerai pas. Tu le feras. Tu m'affronteras de toutes tes forces, ou tu mourras. Quelqu'un est sur le point de mourir. Toi, moi ou le clown. Le choix de l'identité de la victime est entre tes mains.
So Bane is just gonna keep charging at you here. Just gonna keep dodging that. Eventually he'll get tired and just stomp the ground. I'm just gonna keep running circles around him. Literally. So then we're gonna do a beat down here. Ouch. So Bane just broke her back, unfortunately. Except it's not broken because her armor is pretty thick. So
Very
it's fine.
helpful.
Totally fine. Yeah. So now we're gonna use the shock gloves. Batman activates the shock gloves, and one thing you can do is if you get a high enough combo, you can actually interrupt Bane mid-charge. And the good thing about the shock gloves is any punch you do actually gives you double the combo, which is pretty good for building up the combo. Alright, I'm gonna buy some health here because I'm very low and I don't want to die in a marathon. Okay. So yeah, trying to go for the whole charge interrupting can be dangerous because you leave yourself vulnerable. Alright, Bane's dead now. We just killed him. Rest in peace, Bane.
Rip.
But of course, you know, obviously, the no-kill rule is a thing, so we're just gonna revive him again. Now, Bane isn't too happy about dying. I mean, I wouldn't know. I never tried it myself, but I guess that's understandable. So what he does is he takes this thing called TN1, and it's this drug that completely just makes him this hulking monster. We need to deal with that.
Maître Bruce, le TN1 que Bane vient d'injecter sera opérationnel dans 10 minutes. Si vous ne l'avez pas vaincu,
So we need to use these electrified gates here. We need to use 3 of them to defeat Bane.
Armel, j'ai besoin que tu sécurises toutes les sorties de Blackgate. Les égouts, les portes de demande, comme tu veux. Joker ne doit pas sortir. On s'en occupe.
might just have to do a bunch of sneak attacks on him to get him in position.
Yeah. So I'm gonna throw a battering. I'm gonna try to hit that pirate signature behind him. For some reason, that makes him come towards me. Normally, he would just go the other way. So yeah, that was pretty much textbook Bane. Pretty good.
As that can go. Bane's kind of unpredictable, so this fight can go very, very wrong.
Yeah. It's also, this fight is also a little bit, just a tiny bit buggy. Sometimes things don't work properly. So Bane's defeated, thankfully. Except, hold on. Not quite. He's still pretty mad. So he's gonna punch us straight through a concrete wall. But thankfully our armor is quite thick, and it's gonna keep us alive.
Blunt force trauma doesn't matter when you have thick armor.
Is about to charge us here, but we remember we have this gadget that we never got, so we use that.
How convenient.
And just electrify him. So, fun fact about this Bane fight. At the beginning of the fight, Alfred actually calls you, and he's like, if you don't take him out in 10 minutes, he'll take you out in one hit. Now, the cool thing about that is it's actually true. If you wait 10 minutes, as soon as any punch from him will insta-kill you right away, which is a little cool thing.
So even though we just finished the final boss, the game's gonna keep going for a little bit here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Crocodile Man again.
Yeah, here's Skull Croc again. He's very upset about the first time.
The
Then he
boss
remembers
fight?
how.
Oh.
Yeah. Then he remembers how we completely whooped his butt. So he just, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah. Gordon's gonna try to help us wreck these guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not fast enough for us.
Où est le Joker? Il est passé par cette porte. Elle mène à la chapelle. Merci.
Right, so time to finally face off against Joker and finish the game.
Wait, Joker's in this game?
Yeah, he is. He's behind the whole thing, actually.
Huh.
So, Joker's all like, you know, Batman, you don't get it. You just don't see it, you know? You and I are exactly the same. We live in a society, you know? Batman's all like, well, no, you're wrong, Joker. The power of friendship has opened my eyes. Let me show you. And then he proceeds to pummel him until he's unconscious.
Yeah, this is exactly what friendship looks like.
Yep, this is what true friendship is all about.
Time's coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, as soon as I land the final hit on Joker. And time.
C'est pour ça que tu fais ça, n'est-ce pas? Tu aimes bien les sensations.
Nicely done.
C'est vital.
I think that was pretty good time, I think.
Allez, Batou, frappe-moi jusqu'à ce que tes poings saignent. Pourquoi abandonner?
Looks
Tu
like
sais qu'il n'y a
a
qu'un seul moyen de m'arrêter.
That's pretty good. Very good.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's a great run overall.
Yeah.
Love watching it. Do you guys have any shout-outs, anything you want to talk about real fast before we end up going to the next thing?
Yeah, if we have time, there is this little thing that I like to show off. If we have time, you know, and it's not very important.
Vous savez, ma fille pense que vous êtes un héros.
All right.
Malgré tout, je dois vous arrêter.
So I'll just Alt F4 here and open the game again because that cutscene's unskippable. I have a save file lined up for it, so wouldn't take long. So when we went to the GCPD, I mentioned that we hacked this panel that breaks a side mission or whatever. And let me show you that side mission. Now it breaks. So this is a post any % save file. It's the save file after all those cutscenes that we can't skip. Okay, so all right, need to go to the other island. So let's do that. I'm gonna go to Mad Hatter's hat shop, which is his lair.
I actually don't think I've seen this.
Yeah, it's not very common knowledge, but it's not like unknown or anything. It's very much known, but it's not super common. Like not a lot of people know about it. All right, there's the hat shop. So as you can see, it all looks pretty normal right now, but as soon as we get in here, you'll see what happens. So yeah, the area is completely broken. It's completely broken. We're out of bounds now. And there's Mad Hatter over there. He has no collision. So yeah, this is it. This is how it's all gets broken. And these doors over there are actually part of a puzzle that you have to do here. You can actually go down there and start going through the doors. You keep going through infinitely. So you just go through, you get out the other one, and you can just keep doing that forever and ever and ever. So yeah, that was basically it. That's all I wanted to show off.
Cannot imagine how what we do in the run would cause this.
Yeah, it's just hacking that one panel early. So yeah, that's all. So as for shoutouts, I'm Green Bat on pretty much everything, and Chicken Nuggets is Chicken Nuggets on pretty much everything.
Yep.
And we have a speedrun Discord. You should go join that. There's a lot of helpful people in there. And if you're interested in this game, we have a tutorial. So if you want, you can go check that out. And yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and if people wanted to check you guys out on Twitch, where would they be?
Yeah, Green Bat and Chicken Nuggets.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want to find all the speedrunning stuff, just go to speedrun.com/Arkham Origins, and everything you'll need is there.
Yep.
All right. Just one quick thing. I know we don't have to talk about deals, but if you are interested in picking up this game right now with the winter sale, these games, the entire Arkham series, are $4.99 each. So now would be a great time if you were watching this like I was and was thinking, man, this would be a really fun speedrun to learn.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, before we take our next break and go into our third game, which is going to be Cthulhu Saves Christmas, these hotfix shows are brought to you by viewers like you. If you would like to have ad-free viewing, consider using your Prime Gaming account to support the weekly GDQ Hotfix content. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, consider subbing to the channel or even sharing our shows on social media. We have a plethora of new hotfix shows that have just started up, so you can head on over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to find out more about all the great shows we have and even submit your runs to some of these amazing shows. And don't forget that Awesome Games Done Quick 2021 Online is less than 2 weeks away. From January 3rd to January 10th, we're going to be having a week-long marathon benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prize submissions are open until the end of the week, December 26th. So go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more. We're going to take a small little break here to play some ads, so this is a great time for you to hydrate, stretch, walk around, anything else that you fancy. And don't forget that after our run, starting right after the next thing, is going to be speedruns from the Crypt with Dead Rising 4 and Parasite Eve. I love the Parasite Eve runs. I cannot wait for that. That's coming up here in a little bit. But first, we're going to take that break. Stay tuned. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to The Bargain Bin, a show about speedrunning all video games under $20. I'm Midnight Vesper, your host, and we have Church back here with running Cthulhu Saves Christmas. This game looks like it's going to be super fun. I can't wait to see how this goes.
Well, so I figured we had to steal Christmas first, now we're gonna save it, right?
Yeah, that works.
How are you on the time, Richard? You good? Alright, we're all set. Time in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, hopefully my noise gate is set a little high enough that you won't have to hear this. The Zeboid games do not disable the keyboard while you're playing with controller. So they have 2 confirm keys on the keyboard, which I've bound to the 2 unused triggers on my controller. So I'm going to spend the next 30-ish minutes smashing 3 buttons on my controller.
It's
Hopefully you don't hear all of it. So this is Cthulhu Saves Christmas. This is a prequel to Cthulhu Saves the World. And it is by Zeboid Games, which is a very good developer. They make a lot of good indie games, so I do recommend checking their games out. But the basic plot of this is that Cthulhu woke up and his powers were stolen, so he goes on a quest to get revenge on Santa, but finds out it wasn't actually Santa, it was the League of Christmas Evil who have kidnapped Santa and stolen his powers. So now we're going to help his granddaughter Crystal Claus get Santa back.
At the promise of our powers back.
Yes. With the promise of powers enough to rule or take over the world. Because she'll just let Santa know that the plot of Cthulhu Saves the World happens, so it's definitely okay to give him the powers back. The game is very self-aware, so it has a lot of good like jokes like that.
It also does not acknowledge that the fourth wall exists.
The fourth wall exists to be broken, essentially. So we're in this kind of like dating sim-esque thing. So in between the maps, we have 4 days. It's four options to go different like town areas to explore relationships and get items. Some of them we do because they're fast. Some of them we do for items.
Some we do to set up items later.
Yeah. So we are in the second area here, and we've picked up Baba Yaga, who is a girl with a chicken on her head. Chicken's name is Cluck Cluck, and Cluck Cluck is the best character in this game.
True.
So, the basic... basically, we're going to be running through maps, going after different leagues, or members of the League of Christmas Evil, in order to try and get Santa back. There's going to be kind of a recurring theme, where we defeat a boss, and the boss knows absolutely nothing, and so we're exactly where we started.
Because, you know, that's fun.
You might... Yeah. You might notice in the bottom right, there's a red bar that's filling up periodically. That bar is the reason I'm mashing 3 confirmed buttons 30 minutes. every time the exclamation mark appears above my head, I have the option to either... Well, a fight will happen if I don't press the confirm button to ignore it.
It's a really fun technique for speedrunners, at least, to be able to keep going through it. It also allows you to do grind out all of the fights or do absolutely minimum if you're playing through it, and it's kind of adds a nice mix to the game.
So this is the second fight here. The second League of Christmas Evil here. And the cat is a healer, so we want to get rid of the cat as fast as possible. After that, the fight is possible to 2-cycle if you get thunder on both characters and nobody gets stunned. We did not get that, so it takes a little bit longer. One of the important battle mechanics that we haven't really covered. So we have 7 we have 7, so technically 8. We have 8 ability slots. One of them is always going to be a defend, and the other 7 are moves. The first 4 on the top row, we can select what goes there, but the other 3 are called insanity moves, and those are random. They're pulled out of special moves that can only be in those slots, and all of the other assigned abilities. So there is a little bit of RNG into what moves we do actually get. So some fights, unfortunately, actually a lot of fights rely on certain moves being in the insanity slots to go faster. So we do as best as we can to route around that with mitigating the random abilities, but we can only do so much. So right now we have now picked up Bell Snickle. Bell Snickle is a old, I wouldn't say grumpy, but he's an older gentleman who doesn't necessarily frown upon punishing naughty kids.
He literally whips the candy out of naughty children's hands.
Yeah.
There's a reason Cthulhu likes him.
He is the only character in this game Cthulhu likes. But he's an old friend of Santa, so he wants to help us get Santa back. Baba Yaga actually has been on the naughty list for many, many years and wants to rescue Santa so she can make him put her on the good list. I got a menu here.
Yeah, everybody's got their reason, and really only Crystals is considered good. Everybody else is, it's a little complicated and devious. So with this menu, you're seeing a lot of moving different items and equipping the right certain things onto certain characters, because everybody has a weapon, an armor, and an accessory slot. And the things that you pick up can only be used by one individual character. And they have stat upgrades, but they also have like extra added abilities, and sometimes we really want those extra abilities. Like, not in this set. I know there's one set later where it'll give Crystal an unstoppable buff, which means if she were to go below 0 health, we have a little bit of time to pick her back up before she would be out of the fight.
Yeah, I actually don't remember where that is. I just know it happens at some point.
I think it's the death robe, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, yeah. I believe you're 100% right on that. So we got rid of the giant mouse and a robot.
I think it was multiple mice and a robot.
I think you're right. I think it's like 5 or something. They tell you how many it is. Crystal gets the hyperizer. This is important. And the Festo wand off of post office.
So again, we're doing our daily sim again, and some items we actually want, some items we're setting up for later, and some of it's just faster. Because like the last thing you want to do is go to the mall. It's Christmas. Don't go to the mall. It's gonna take you forever.
That is 1,000% true. I think I think the mall is the second longest outside of the movie theater. The theater is the worst because you actually you transition to a scene where it actually shows you, like, not a real movie, but you get to watch people watching a movie, and then it goes back, and it's just like it's a lot of time. So we haven't really talked about the maps or anything. So this game was made on a very short dev cycle. The long story short is that they got really burnt out on the last game, the game they made before this, Cosmic Star Heroine, which was a game that was a lot. The scope of the game was a lot more than two people could handle, but they handled it. And then they basically just didn't want, like, they were done, but they still wanted to, like, actually make games and produce stuff, so they came out with this game, which is an original story, but pretty much all of the assets are reused from their older games. So, like, all of the maps are from previous games in the Zeboid history.
They also...
2 seconds.
The Cthulhu sprite, I think, is taken straight from Cthulhu Saves the World, because there's absolutely no difference in it. Things like that. Like, there's some stuff that was new. The combat system is taken straight from Cosmic Star Heroine, with the slight change up for the insanity abilities, but...
Yeah. Ooh, that didn't... I think I missed equipping something, which shouldn't matter too much, it just matters the order of it, because I was expecting that to be Belsnickel, but we'll be fine. I want to do...
So this game has a mix of, we actually plan out some amount of strats, and then we have a certain amount that's improv, and you just kind of have to roll with it, because you don't 100% know what's going to throw at you with, like, your insanity abilities, and you're also hoping that, like, different status conditions actually go off, and for the most part, they do, but occasionally we get into situations where it didn't work.
Shield breaker. So I'm basically just trying to set up for a very strong turn here. I'm dropping a lot of buffs on Cthulhu, or sorry, a lot of buffs on Cthulhu and a lot of debuffs on the boss. Yeah, just to stack. So there's a lot of it's a little hard to talk about. Like, there's such an in-depth combat system because it plays off of Cosmic Star Heroine, but there's not a lot of game to actually talk about it. There was the there's boxes in the top left, and every turn a character gets, they fill a bar, which brings them closer to a hyper turn, and they deal more damage on a hyper turn. We combined that with a vulnerable, which makes enemies take more damage, plus a few extra buffs. So we're adding a lot of, like, multipliers in there to get the damage really high, in order to do a lot of damage. All of my characters apparently fell off the screen there. Just, like,
it happens visible. A lot.
Yeah.
I try to race and see if I can get everybody else off screen. It's fun. It only works on, like, the first screen of the,
Yeah, of this area.
Yeah.
So this area here, we're in kind of, like, a weird Ghost of Christmas past world. I don't know why I tried to go up there. So Cluck Cluck, the chicken from before, can actually talk here. We're in a very eerie neighborhood, which is just like the Penny Arcade 3 neighborhood.
And there's absolutely no one around.
Which kind of makes it less scary. I apparently got into a fight somehow. Oh, well.
So if you don't get all of the confirms, you do get into these fights with random things. And some of these fights, at least in my opinion, are actually scarier than the boss fights, because the bosses are very, very predictable. And some of these, if you haven't studied every single enemy, or like, I don't 100% know what you're weak to, and you also have usually more enemies than bosses, outside of, like, Yule Cat.
That's not what I wanted. I just want to hit something. Thank you.
Outside of like Yule Cat, you only have like a couple things on screen.
Yeah, the random fights are... You can, because they'll always be in the same order, you can technically plan for them, but you don't really want to plan for, you don't want to plan for stuff like that, so... so I want the cursed runs, build pestle, Fabergé egg, please. I need the code. So this fight can be a little bit annoying just because there's two of them and they have a decent amount of health. We're going to...
But if you're lucky, you can get some good debuffs and use some charms so that they'll hit each other, and they can do a lot of damage to each other.
They are all focusing on the same one. That's a little obnoxious.
That sounds like my luck.
I need 2 turns for a debuff, so I was hoping to get a debuff there, or a buff there. I didn't get it. I'm just gonna drop this here. We're gonna wait here.
And so
wait here.
There's a little bit of trying to using the recharge to not use the vulnerable that we put out, but also trying to make sure that we're looking at what abilities we have coming in from the insanity abilities and what abilities we have that we can count on, what buffs we have, and all of that, and balancing your 4 abilities that are assigned versus the 3 abilities that are random creates a constant reacting to small images, because you have to remember what everything does by the look of it.
Yeah, you have to really think on your feet for this one to be able to get like really optimal with it.
And you do have unite abilities, which is powerful abilities that are combining kind of like 2 different characters' abilities. So what you've seen us use a lot to attack everyone is one ability called Call Kraken, that is combining Cthulhu and Crystal, and it does fire and ice damage.
I think it's
everything.
Fire lightning?
No, it's ice.
No, you're right,
it's
it's fire ice. Yeah.
The fire I wasn't 100% sure on.
Of. Yeah, no, it's fire. You're right, it's fire ice. I don't know why I was thinking lightning.
And so using something like Call Kraken combined with vulnerable buffs or debuffs helps get a lot more damage out there, and especially when we're dealing in situations like with the 2 Bell Twins, where we have 2 enemies and we want to get rid of them as quickly as possible.
So here we are. God.
I'll say this map can be slightly annoying because there's a lot of little things on the ground that tend to be tripped on.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that look like they're just kind of in the background, but they're not, and you can catch your legs on them. So at this point, we're a few members of the League of Evil down, and it like I was saying earlier, it's dead end after dead end. We keep fighting them, defeating them, and then getting nothing, and we spend 4 days trying to get new leads. We're now venturing into the cave of this evil witch who likes to eat children, in the hopes that we can get a little bit of a lead here. This is actually the shortest, one of the shortest. Okay, I was definitely mashing there too. Just gonna do this.
You can mash, and every now and then the game just looks at you and goes, yeah, no.
That one was much better than the other one. Surprisingly, I think actually the last level has so the one that we just completed and the actual last level have the worst random encounters to just like accidentally stumble into. So we picked up a nice item here. I'm gonna equip all of Cthulhu here. It's called the Insanity Tentacle. So most of the abilities in the game are single use, and then you have to defend to recharge them. This one is not. We're actually able to... Or sorry, with the Insanity Tentacle, we now have the ability to use Dark Blast, which is a very strong dark move on Cthulhu. We can use it infinitely without having to recharge, which is going to be very nice.
And so this boss technically eats children, and we happen to have a child in our party. So, you know, it's a little concerning.
Well, if that was Baba, I would be in for a world of hurt, but it wasn't so good.
We've got Crystal down. Crystal's biggest role at this moment would mostly be in healing. So not having her up, as long as, you know, we don't have any like crazy damage, which we should be able to control that completely, we're gonna be fine. If it's Baba, then we're low on damage and some of the other buffs that we kind of are expecting to be using at that point.
Once you get to the end of the a boss fight, it's mostly just you need Baba alive to use the Unite ability, because that's where a lot of your damage comes from. Otherwise, you're not in too much of a problem. But yeah, losing party members not good overall.
I tend to notice less when I lose Belle, and it's like, oh, sorry, Belle.
Typically, typically if Bell goes down, everything's gone right, because he has the most health, so it's like everybody's just actually targeting Bell, and nobody ever actually targets the tank.
Exactly.
So we are now in the second final map. We are entering, I guess we've already entered, I don't actually know if it's called Yggdrasil in this one, but it's Yggdrasil and Penny Arcade 4, so that's what I call it. It's a little bit of a long climb here. But we're going to be facing off, we have figured out that Santa is at the top of this tree, so there's definitely only one more boss between us and Santa. There couldn't possibly be more bosses between us saving Christmas. So we're gonna head up here and then, you know, rescue Santa. There's not too much to equip here. It's we get the basically one of the items we've been working towards the entire game, which is the Eldritch Egg for Baba, which is going to make her poison do a little bit more. No, sorry, that's the other one. It's gonna help with dark damage.
That's right. I was like, I'm trying to remember all the items.
Why?
Do extra.
I am not mashing well enough, apparently.
Some days it be like that.
Yeah. Oh, do this.
So we're just getting through a couple extra fights that we don't quite need, but it's fine. We're gonna just destroy them and not worry about it. One of the good news is because we're playing this on the same difficulty, we're gonna get all of our health and everything else back. I think it's the Nightmare difficulty is the only one where it doesn't restore your health at the end of every fight.
That's true. I've never played it on that difficulty. That sounds...
I did it for the
good.
challenge.
Yeah, I did not.
Sane and insane, you get your health back at the end of every fight, so you don't have to worry too much that well, I took damage, and so now I have to think about that. For the boss fight, now the game goes here, have your health back. We understand.
So this menu is very simple. It's this. What's this?
It's a whip and an egg.
Alright, so this is definitely the final boss of the game. There can possibly be another boss here.
I mean, we've got Santa right there. It's Krampus. That's classic. It makes complete and total sense.
So this boss fight actually doesn't take too long here. This. We get a nice buff from Bell Snickle here.
Nice. Poison, vulnerable, damage boosts everywhere, and hyper. It's a perfect win situation to deliver a ton of damage. But wait.
Oh no! There was more. So it turns out, and I'm going to butcher this name, Nelthorwhip was actually secretly behind Krampus the entire time. So now we have to fight both of them. This fight is a little more obnoxious than... don't know what I'm doing here. This fight's a little more obnoxious than the other one because they both have very high healths, and we only have one high damage single target ability, so we kind of just flail around for a little bit here.
But Gnarl's gonna try and keep doing damage to everybody, so you have to pay a little bit more attention to everybody's health in this fight as well. We have the ability to heal on a couple different characters, and we'll do things like that just to kind of maintain, because we don't want to lose any of our big damage dealing crew, so that we can get this fight done with it as quickly as possible. But we're going to be making sure we're using the best we can out of our hyper turns, using buffs, debuffs, and whatever we roll to get Wondering.
Yeah, I used it on the wrong one.
And it's a lot of also just trying to see how much damage we can get out from everybody to get through the fight as quickly as possible. We do have the unstoppable buff on Crystal because of her equipment. So if she does go down, we have a second to try to pick her up, because she does the most healing. But everybody else, if they hit 0, that's it. They don't have that second chance.
We got a little bit of health left. I need to defend on... Oh, you had break still. Am I dumb? No, that's fine. I'm just going to... that break should take, and then
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so we've defeated Nelthorwhip, Santa Claus is back, but we're still in... So I guess we haven't really talked about this. Because Santa Claus wasn't there to bring Christmas, every day has been Christmas Eve the X. So Christmas Eve is still occurring. So we're on like Christmas Eve the 46th, I believe. So now we're trying to figure out why Christmas hasn't come yet. And it turns out all of this was a ploy by the Ghost of Christmas Future in order to prevent Christmas from occurring. So now we're going to go back to this weird Ghost of Christmas X town, which is a little bit different now, and we're going to go defeat Christmas Future.
Because, you know, that's what we're here to do, and save Christmas and bring joy to everyone so we can destroy the world.
In the next game. So there's going to be a lot of items here because this is like the final dungeon. So a lot of the characters just get a bunch of their end game gear. So there's going to be a very large menu at the end. Also, up until this point, Crystal has had like a lot of high damage equipment. We're going to be switching all of that out for the final fight.
Her biggest focus is going to be healing, just keeping everybody alive.
Yeah, so we're going to pick up an item in this area, which is going to allow one of her abilities called Gentle Rain to be reused infinitely. Gentle Rain is a pretty powerful AoE heal, which we haven't used or equipped yet. I think you only get it... Well, in the speedrun, you only get it, like, right now, or maybe like a boss earlier, but you get it pretty late in the run, and there's not really a scenario where it would be helpful. Yeah, I think you definitely get it after the last boss, otherwise we might equip it for Krampus.
Yeah. I think it's one of the items that we get in the...
Well, yeah, the item is here, but I meant the No, I think it's like this one or something. It's definitely one of the last 3 robes in the graveyard, but I meant just more like the move is.
You can get it early if, you're out grinding and not, doing a speed run. But for the speed run's sake, no, we get it from our XP off of actually, I think we get off of Gnarl by the second section. We don't even have it for the in between, which I don't think you have time to do a menu there. Anyway.
You do not, no.
So basically, everybody is getting all of their equipment upgraded, except only thing we're gonna give Bell is a new whip. Like he's fine. Don't worry about his equipment. He just needs new whips.
We'll do this here. So we have a boss rush with 4 familiar bosses and 1 old boss.
And again, we have the cat, and again, the cat is a healer, so we do want to get rid of the cat as quickly as possible. So AoE's early just to get a lot of damage out on a lot of folks, but also gives us a chance to kind of focus on getting a lot of damage on the cat in particular. So now it's a lot of kind of managing buffs. You'll see Gentle Rain used a lot from Crystal to keep everybody's health up, because it does heal everybody in the party.
Frostbite goes there. I want to do this on you.
A little bit of insanity out there.
Yeah. Ooh, Baba just died.
That's scary.
That'll be fine.
So one of the other things that we're doing here with the insanity is it increases the amount of dark damage taken. So a lot of what Cthulhu's abilities do are going to hit harder. But it also means that they deal more damage, so you have to balance a little bit of how much throw insanity out there versus how much damage are you ready to take. It also,
I'm going to be defending with Nickel a lot just to cycle. He has 2 buffs, and that's really all I care for have him do, so I'm just going to cycle for the buffs, basically.
And if basically he's also going to be I completely lost that train of thought. Add 1 and it was gone.
I'm not sure where you were going, unfortunately.
My cat came up and said hi, and then it was gone, and I was like, all right.
That's understandable. Understandable. I did not make the hyperwise. I'm going to do this. So we're going to lose a little bit of damage because we're doing Call of Kraken instead of... Say Cthulhu Apocalypse, but that's not going to be a big deal. So this fight's just, at this point, it's just, we're not going to die because Nell's not going to do enough damage. We just need to hit him until he's dead. Which it will be a few turns just because at this point, Bell doesn't really have a lot of damaging moves. So he's just going to be chipping away a little bit, and then Cthulhu is going to be doing most of the damage. I can take a turn on Crystal to circle for a damage dealing ability, which that will be what I'm looking for. Alright, that should do a decent amount of damage. You're getting a little bit low. Time will be coming up shortly.
It'll be on the last hit on the boss.
Which is in, like, I think Cthulhu's next attack should do it. I'm gonna just wait here. Yeah, time. That's not a bad time.
Not at all. It's only about 2 minutes off world record. Unless you've beaten the world record and not told me.
I was really hoping to do it with this run. I got 4 seconds off last night in a practice run, but I ran into too many optionals, so... But that's the game. We have now saved Christmas. And they've actually added a new game plus. So in theory, I could just go again with new, like, the same characters and everything. They added, like, extra content and stuff. But at this point, we've saved Christmas. He's given us our powers back. We now have the power to destroy the world, and Cthulhu saves the world.
Sweet. Anything you'd like to say? Like shout-outs or where people can watch you guys, watch you all stream?
I'm at twitch.tv/churchandsurge. I'm going to be doing a lot of, I wouldn't say Christmas-related runs, but actually I'll probably be doing some Grinch and Cthulhu for the next few days. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
I'm at twitch.tv/Alfina. And I will be doing Cthulhu Saves the World until I steal the world record. So find that there.
That'll be fun to see. Well, I do believe that's going to end up concluding the bargain bin for tonight. But don't worry, we're not done yet for the entirety of the stream. We do have speedruns from the crypt coming up. But first, don't forget, Awesome Games Done Quick 2021 online is less than 2 weeks away. From January 3rd through the 10th, we'll be having a week-long marathon benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Prize submissions are open until the end of this week, December 26th. So go to gamesdonequick.com to find out more. Tomorrow, it's gonna be a cold one outside as Hobbs and Keys climb Celeste Mountain on the second step. Watch as they play through the whole game and see how they do starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, we got speedruns from the crypt with Ecdysis coming up here in just a second with Dead Rising 4 and Parasite Eve. That will end the bargain bin for me. I am Midnight Vesper. You guys have a wonderful, happy holidays, happy New Year's, and enjoy Awesome Games Done Quick 2021, as well as the bargain bin and the second step. Bye.